السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today inshallah we'll be talking about the rules of Nun al-Sakin, right? The rules of Lam al-Sakin. We're talking about the rules of Lam al-Sakin. And so Lam al-Sakin is called silent Lam. Silent Lam. And so how would you identify silent Lam in the Quran? And how would you pronounce them? Right? So two things. Mostly in the Quran, mostly when you have the Quran to read, there are two things that's been a challenge. How do you identify how to read it? Right? So what do you need to see and how do you pronounce what you see in the Quran? So if you see a symbol or you see a word or you see a structure or you see anything in the Quran, you see it. But having the knowledge of what it is and how to pronounce it is a different thing entirely. Right, so today, inshallah, we'll be talking about all this a bit in these classes. And so last week, we talked about the rules of Lam, one of the rules of Lam. And today, we'll be talking about another rule of Lam. I mentioned last week, there are different rules of Lam. So Lam that has to do with verbs, Lam that has to do with particles, Lam that have to do with nouns, right? So what we'll be talking today is about the rules of Lam, and mostly this has to do with words that have Lam al-Ma'rifah in the Quran, like we call it in English, any noun that have a definite article. In the Quran, it's a bit more different than the English language definition of definite article. And so in the Quran, there are two types of Lam that are associated with nouns that are used for definite articles. For those of you guys that understand what definite article is like if you say a boy is in my house. So you introduce the boy, and the boy is now an indefinite article, indefinite noun at that time, because you use a to precede the description of the boy, because no one knew the boy, right? And then if you want to describe about the boy again, you will not use the word a. You say the boy is from Ghana, or the boy is from the US. So there is a boy in my house now. The boy is a lawyer. So there's a boy in my house. So that a is an indefinite article. And the boy in that scenario is an indefinite noun. But if you want to introduce the boy again, you can say the boy is a lawyer, something like that. And so the introduction of the word the helps to let people know that this boy that's been talking about is already talking about earlier. So let's go to the Quran and Arabic in general. And so there are two types of Lam, silent Lam, that you will see in the Quran. And it's important that everyone know how to pronounce this. It used to be a challenge for beginners, not just for beginners alone, and for those who know fluent reciters of the Quran. They mispronounce and they misspell these lambs when they see them in the Quran. So these are important things you need to know and be aware of. And those two silent lam that we're going to be looking at today is called the lam al-qamariyya and lam al-shamsiyya. So we'll have something called idgham al-lam al-qamariyya, izhar al-lam al-shamsiyya. And so for students who are in our program, you will all be learning this. And so, for those who will be studying next week, this week on Monday. So we have excited to welcome, our new students, almost, 30 students studying because this week, they are at different level of their journey of the Quran reading. And so these students for the next 16 weeks, so those who are complete beginners, inshallah, will be going through our curriculum modules that I showed you guys in the class last week. So they'll be going through, some of them will be going through accelerated Quran reading program curriculum. It's an 8-module curriculum that's going to help them learn how to read the Quran on their own. These students are complete beginners, and so they'll be going through the journey of learning how to read the Quran on their own for the next 16 weeks, inshallah. And so those who have already learned to read the Quran, they will be learning the Tajweed in our program, studying this week on Monday, inshallah. Okay, so moving forward, so the rules of lam al-Qamariya and lam al-Shamsiyya. So whenever you heard of silent, lam, so you need to know what silent lam is first. You need to know what is a silent lam and how to identify a silent lam. I mentioned earlier. And so for those who are just, watching me right now, or those who are just joining this wonderful class, my name is Imam Muhammad Amin. I'm, the founder of Maaher Academy, and we have an online Quran reading program. Although we do have some adults program, but we have we stopped enrolling for adults program right now. So we have some kids watch remaining for little kids or for kids who might be interested. So if you are a parent and you want to help your child to learn to read the Quran, you want to help your child to become a fluent Quran reciter, then join us in this wonderful program. Instead of you having a child to continue learning the Quran for for 5 years or for 3 years or for 4 years somewhere, the kids are not being monitored. The classes is not bringing out the results you want to the child. Then it tells you it's the time for you to change the way the Quran has been learned. So if it's not working for your child right now, they've been learning somewhere for almost maybe 5 years or 2 years or 3 years or more than that. And if you open a random place to your child in the Quran, they cannot still pronounce the ayat on their own. They cannot still pronounce the words on their own. Then it's time for you to change the program. It's not the money that really matters. Don't care if you're paying $20 or $30 or $50 or £50 to have your child learn. It's not about the money, because in the long run, you will be paying that money for 5 years. But what really matters is the time of the kids, the time of the students. So when it's good for them to commit to learning perfectly and learn efficiently, you didn't invest in the right program for them. And so we have a unique four months program that will train your child to learn to read the Quran. And some of the things you're going to be learning in that accelerated Quran reading program is this rule of lam al-sakin, right? Lam al-sakin. And so the two lam al-sakin that you will be seeing that are associated with words, that are associated with nouns, in the Quran. I gave an example of definite noun and indefinite noun earlier. It's the lam al-Qamariya and lam al-Shamsiyya. And so let's dive in a little bit into what a lam al-Qamariya is. And so a lam al-Qamariya, those lam that will have the sukun. Sukun mostly indicates silence, right? When you don't have a short vowel sound on the letter, a letter doesn't have a fatha, a letter doesn't have a dumma, a letter doesn't have a kasra. It means that letter is silent. And there are like 3 ways of indicating silence in the Quran. So you might have the letter have the half circle sukun, like we have here, or you might have the letter have a full circle sukun on top of it. So when you have a letter that's having a half circle sukun like we have here, or you have a letter that's having a full circle sukun, or some letters will not have anything, right? And so the lam that are silent, they will either have nothing, or they will have the half circle sukun. You see that? So those are the 2 types of lam sakin that you will have in the Quran, the silent lam. It's either lam, in terms of lam that are associated with nouns, right? So you have it that will have a small circle sukun like this, or you have those that will have nothing. It will be empty. They'll be empty. And so the one that will be having the half circle sukun that are connected to words, nouns, are called the lam al-Qamariya. And in this scenario here, the lam is going to be pronounced with sukun. And so anytime you see this kind of hamza, this is called hamza al-wasli, and you see this kind of sword symbol on top of it, it means that here, this hamza here is going to be representing different hamza there. So the alif here is going to be pronounced as an hamza. There's this rule of, in the Quran, there are 29 letters of the Quran Tajweed. For in Arabic, there are 28 letters. So the Quran letters, there's a difference between the function of a hamza and an alif. So here, you will be pronouncing this as an hamza. So this one is hamza al-wasl. So if you want to pronounce this, if it's in the beginning, if you see this kind of alif, and you see it in the beginning of any word, and it's connected to a lam al-Qamariya, this kind of lam that has sukun, you will always pronounce this alif with a fatha. And so there's always a lam before it. And so if the lam is in the beginning of the word, we'll give it a fatha. And so in this kind of scenario, this one will be al-ardo, right? Al-ardo, al-ardo. And so this lam, its peculiarity is this lam here, it's silent, but it's having a sukun. So it's pronounced silently. The short, the sound of the lam is shortened. So the lam is pronounced, although it's silent, but it's pronounced with a shortened sound, right? Al-ardo, al-ardo, al-baqila, al-baqila, al-ghayb, al-ghayb, al-jawari, al-kayla, al-waswas. And so what you need to know here is that this alif here, the moment it's in the beginning of a word, and you see it connecting to a lam sakin that has the afsakh sukun, and then you know that this alif will be pronounced with a fatha, right? So that is lam al-qamariyah. So we call it idhar lam al-qamariyah. Let's do an example of an ayah. But the moment you see this alif in the middle of a word, in the middle of an ayah, the alif will not be pronounced on it. So you would see this here, this alif here, in this ayah here, you will not pronounce this. So you say qad aflahal. So you will be joining this ha together to the lam, al-lam al-qamariyah, idhar al-lam al-qamariyah. So it's going to be qad aflahal mu'minun, qad aflahal. So this alif here is written, it's not pronounced. It's written, it's not pronounced. And so this alif will not be pronounced. So قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. See that? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So the only time you'll be pronouncing this alif, it's whenever it's in the beginning of the word. And the moment it's not in the beginning, it's in the middle. For lam al-qamariyah here, you will not pronounce it. And the same thing applies for lam al-shamsiyah, which we're going to look at in a moment. So the only thing I want you to identify right here is when you see a lam that's silent like this, having a sukun. The after sukun is called lam al-qamariyah, right? Lam al-qamariyah, what I call it, lam al-qamariyah. And so this is a form of silent lam. I told you earlier that the symbols for identifying a silent letter, although we have two symbols that you will see, this full circle sukun or the half circle sukun, or some letters will have nothing on top of them. They're going to be empty. They will not have any harakat, right? All the symbols, this indicates silent. This indicates, the state of silence of the letter. Also, if the letter is not having nothing. But for lam al-qamariyah, its own lam will always have a half circle sukun. And so whenever this kind of alif is in the beginning of a word, you will pronounce it with a fatha. But the moment it's in the middle, you will not pronounce it at all, right? So let's do another example of lam al-qamariyah. Okay, and so the kids in our program will practice this, towards the end of the program. Because this topic is learned, see, it's the 7th module, so they learn it towards the end of the program, right? So وَنَضَعُ. So this ayn will be pronounced with the lam, and so this alif is not pronounced. وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ. See that? موازين القسط. So this alif here, it's not pronounced. وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ. See, na and the lam here was connected together. And then yawmil liyawmil. So the mim and the lam al-qamariyah is connected together. So you see, I cancel this alif, I cancel this alif, I cancel this alif. Why? It will not be pronounced. Why? Because the alif is in the middle of an ayah. And then because of that, you don't have to pronounce it. You don't have to pronounce it. You see that? You don't have to pronounce it. So lam al-qamariyah will have a half circle sukun, and it's going to be pronounced with the sukun itself, right? And that's lam al-qamariyah. On the other hand, the second kind of silent lam is lam al-shamsiyah. So lam al-shamsiyah, you see, it's also silent, but the lam is having nothing. It's completely, empty. It's completely empty of anything. It's not having anything to pronounce it with, right? So you will not pronounce that lam here because the lam here is not having anything. So you don't pronounce it even a sukun, right? So you don't pronounce it even with a sukun, right? So, but the same rule applies. The same rule applies. You're gonna pronounce this alif with a fatha. Aqtam, right? So we already learned the rule of ta al marbuta whenever it's ending an ayah or a word, and you want to stop there. You convert this ta al marbuta. You convert it to letter ha and give it a sukun. Aqtam. You see, aqtam. And so the lam al-shamsiyah, the lam you see here, all this lam here, they don't have anything. If you look at this closely, this lamb here does not have anything. The lamb here does not have anything. This also does not have anything, you see? And one thing you will observe is that all the letters that follow this lamb have shadda. All the letters that follow the kind of lamb that's silent at least have shadda. So this is called idgham here, idgham rule, idgham lam shamsiyah, right? So ad الساجدون الثرى الضالين, right? So two different differences you observe in the moon letters and the sun letters. So the moon letters will always come after the moon lam, the lam al-qamariya, right? And so the lam al-qamariya is the lam that will have the abstract discipline. And the sun letters will come after the sun lam, the lam al-shamsiyya. And the lam al-shamsiyya will not have anything. It will not even have a half circle sukun, or it will not even have a round circle sukun. It will not have any of this. And so that is lam al-shamsiyya. And all letters that come after lam al-shamsiyya, they are called the sun letters. And something you would see in the sun letters is the sun letters, all of them here have a shadda. It's because of the idgham that comes in there. And so all the letters that come after the lam shamsiyya all have shadda. And so you're going to have to be observant of that. And so let's do one reading of an ayah and we want to end the class. Like here, يَوْمَ التَّلَاقُ. You see here, I didn't pronounce this alif anymore. And so I'm not pronouncing this alif. This lam, that's lam al-shamsiyya, will never be pronounced. You see here, it doesn't even have anything to pronounce it with. So why would you even pronounce it? It's not being pronounced because it's silent there. It's a silent lam. You don't pronounce it. يَوْمَ. So you join the mim right away to the ta. يَوْمَ التَّلَاقُ. يَوْمَ التَّلَاقُ. We'll be learning the rules of shadda. And we already had some lessons previously in our expert Quran Readers Group. You know, for some of you who are still new to this lessons here, we do have our expert Quran Readers Group. And so if you're new in that, you can watch some of our lessons in this platform. You can watch some of our lessons in this platform. We've had tons of resources for you guys in there. So all you need to do, go to the guide section of the author of this wonderful platform, and you will see all the lessons that we've learned about the rules of Tajweed in the past. And so you yourself as an adult or your kids can watch these lessons. And we have resources about how to design Quran learning and what are the things required for anyone to learn to read the Quran. And also you see videos of Quran classes, lessons of different topics. We've learned the Tajweed of Surah Al-Ikhlas, reading of Surah Al-Nasr, out of what comes mistakes in Quran. And we learn about the rules of Shadda, you see, Makharij, like that. The rules of the short vowels and the mid elongation. We've learned about Tanween in the book in the past. We've learned about Shadda, how to pronounce Shadda in the letters of the Quran, and many other things we've learned. So we've also in the past learned about this root of lam that I'm talking about right now. But we see we're trying to help ourselves learn this and get better at it, inshallah. And so we're going to be running off the session by having a quick recitation of Surah Al-Ma'un. And we see how I will be applying the rule of the Lam al-Shamsiyya and the rules of Lam al-Qamariyya in here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين. Right? Lam al-Shamsiyya. فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم لما ترون ولا يحج على طعام المسكين لما ترون فويل للمصلين لما ترون الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. You see, now we're coming again. You see, this is a concept that you need to learn. It's not optional. You need to learn it. And so for students in our accelerated Quran reading program, I tell people this is not magic. This is something that you real students can learn to read fluently in 16 weeks. And the student only needs 3 things. Come to the classes, do their homework, and be on time in classes for 16 weeks. And inshallah, you'll get there. So if you're still interested in having your child, join us in this wonderful program and want to cut short the journey of 10 years who are used to learn to read the Quran, or the journey of 5 years that many students are taking to learn to read the Quran. If you want to cut it short and have it done in 4 months, join us in this accelerated Quran reading program, inshallah. And if there's no any other questions, inshallah, I will be seeing you guys next week, even that for another episode of our lessons on Tajweed. Hopefully, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and have a wonderful day ahead of you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.